My name is Myka Richard, and I used to be a pessimist, a very bad pessimist. And I actually remember when I was younger talking about school and my grades, saying I'm not going to try because it doesn't matter. And my mom said back to me, if it doesn't matter, why don't you just try anyway? Because I know you can do it. And my pessimistic mind was like, no, why would I do that? That's too much effort for not caring about something, which made sense. I used to be the kind of person that would always complain about everything going wrong in my life, being like, oh, I hate this, I hate that, I hate my life, I want to kill myself. And I still sometimes am in the habit of saying it. Most of the time it's joking though. I don't ever seriously say that anymore because I'm in a much better place. And I and many other people would consider myself to be an optimist now. And you're probably wondering, how did someone who is severely depressed and pessimistic become an optimist who's no longer depressed? Well, it wasn't an easy journey, but I want to share it with you, and hopefully this will give you some insights on how to stop being a pessimist yourself. Becoming an optimist is not an easy journey, especially if you've been struggling with pessimism, depression, mental illness for a very long time or possibly your whole life. It's hard when you don't know anything else. Breaking this cycle of pessimism starts with small steps, and the fact that you've clicked on this video today is a perfect example of a small step. You are actively seeking out knowledge on how to stop being pessimistic, and I think that's great. So pat yourself on the back. It starts with self-awareness. You need to know that what you're doing, saying to others, what you're saying in your head is pessimism and is negative energy. My method to overcoming pessimism is similar to that of bullying. You may have heard before the phrase, name it, claim it, stop it. This phrase is often used when talking about bullying or discrimination because the whole goal of it is to name the bad behavior, claim why it makes you feel bad, and then stop it, aka talk to the person or tell them to stop. But essentially, you can do that with your pessimism as well. You are aware you're being pessimistic by saying things, for example, like, I hate my life, or I hate life in general. So the first small step is just awareness, and mindfulness can very much help with that. If you don't know where to start with mindfulness, I highly recommend you go watch my other video about mindfulness and the mistakes that people often make with mindfulness. So naming it requires mindfulness. So that's first step. Name it, you name it. I'm being pessimistic. I'm being negative. Then claim it. Claiming it in this sense is claiming what the phrase is and how that makes you feel. When you say, my life is horrible, or I hate my life, how does that make you feel about life in general? Obviously, that makes you feel really negative about your life, and that is going to change your perspective about your life as a whole. Even though, if we're looking at life from an outside perspective, there are good and bad and mid things about life. It can't simply just be one thing. And the next step is to stop it, which stopping pessimism looks like reframing your mindset about what you're saying. So for example, I hate my life. You don't necessarily need to reframe your thought by saying, I love my life, because that might not be true, and that can seem like lying to yourself or a big step from pessimism to optimism. And I'm aware, as someone who's experienced that it's not easy to just go from saying you hate your life to you love your life. What I think is good is to start being more realistic with yourself and recognize that life is multifaceted and can bring many different feelings and emotions. If I said or thought to myself, I hate my life, what I would do is I would recognize what I was saying. I'm saying I hate my life. Claim how that makes me feel. That makes me feel bad about my life. And then I would reframe it and stop that pattern by saying, I feel negatively about life right now because something made me upset. But I know that life is more than just bad things. That's where you can start to look for the positive things about life. And that's not to diminish the negative thing that you're going through. It's just to be aware of all of the parts of life, because you're really focused on the negative. When you're like, oh, I hate my life, a big part of pessimism is challenging those limiting beliefs you have about how negative things are. Be like, do I hate my life? Do I really hate everything about my life? What's something that I like about my life? And that can really help you start to gain optimism with it. Now, I make this video to hopefully help you with the small steps of starting to become more optimistic in your life. But realistically, it takes a lot of time. It's taken me years to become more optimistic. It doesn't just happen overnight. This is a process that you slowly need to continue to do. Now, my process of naming it, claiming it, and stopping it is something that you could do in the moment, but it can be hard to remember sometimes. I would like to share with you some habits that have helped me become more optimistic that are not just reframing the thought as well. For me, journaling has been a really interesting experience for me with my pessimism, because journaling for me allows me to write down all those negative feelings I have and then look at them afterward, maybe after I write it, or a day or a week after I write it. When I'm no longer feeling negatively, I can look back and be like, oh, those feelings of negativity overall about everything, that was just an in the moment thing. And journaling can allow us to get those negative thoughts out when we have them, because let's be real, sometimes it's really hard to just forget about the negativity. So that's a good, healthy coping mechanism. And if you're struggling with journaling, I do have a video about that as well, so go check that out if you're interested. Mindfulness is another great tool. Mindfulness is a great tool in the moment to help with pessimism, but it can also help outside of the moment, say with a mindfulness practice like yoga or meditation. Things like yoga and meditation allow us a time to pause and reflect, as well as regulate our nervous systems, and sometimes just like negativity, anxiety can really cause us to get worked up. So it's taking a time to healthily process our feelings and calm our bodies. Another tactic I love to use is manifestation. Now, if you don't know what manifestation is, essentially manifestation is the belief that everything that you say or do manifests into your reality. So if I were to say, I hate my life, I am sending that energy, that negative hatred of my life into the universe, and therefore the universe is hearing me say I hate my life and I don't like it, so it's gonna make me not like my life or have bad experiences. So that's another reason why changing our thought patterns and what we say is so important. This is not a belief that everyone holds, because manifestation is a very spiritual practice and many people do it in different cultures. Witches manifest through spells, and that's another big thing. People manifest through prayers. A lot of religions pray, and essentially those prayers are another form of manifesting that someone or yourself is going to have good fortune, good health. You're saying, if you are a Christian or a Catholic or someone who believes in God, you could be saying, dear God, please bring upon good health for this person who is suffering right now. That's a manifestation. You're sending out good energy to that person. You are saying the good that you want for them. You're not saying, please make sure they're not getting sicker. Because what the universe will hear, or whatever you believe in, is gonna hear getting sicker. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But manifestation for me is a big practice, and we can manifest in our day-to-day lives with the name it, claim it, stop it, as I mentioned before, but you can also use it in bigger ways. For example, there's a lot of manifestation journals that you could use where you can write out realistic goals and what you want to achieve in life in order to manifest it, and they can guide you through the process of manifesting. For example, if I wanted a new job, I would manifest it. Instead of saying, I really want this job, that's just kind of a blanket statement. You would say, I'm going to be so happy when I have this job. This job will bring me fulfillment. This job will bring me financial stability. Say you're looking to get an apartment, a house, a car. You could be like, when I have this car. You're not saying if or I want. You are manifesting it into your reality by saying that you will have it. The universe hears that. The universe hears that you are going to have something, and this is the benefit that it will reap to you. Now, if you guys want a more in-depth video about manifestation, I would love to make that for you. Just let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. I would love to talk about it, because manifestation has truly changed my life. I would say that's one of the biggest things that's changed my pessimism for the better. This is something I tell a lot of people who are going through a tough time, and it feels like everything keeps getting worse. Bad things keep happening. Most of the time, it's because you're allowing bad things to keep happening. What we don't realize a lot of the time is that everything is within our control. You create the life you want. I don't mean in the sense of uncontrollable situations. Say you're homeless. Obviously, that's out of your control, especially if you're like struggling with a disease or cancer. That can be out of your control. But you do control the narrative, and you do control what you do with that information. If you are struggling with something, you can choose to be negative about it, you can choose to be pessimistic about it, or you can choose to be optimistic about it and try your best to feel good despite the things that are happening to you. You can choose to have better habits with your thought patterns, with your life, instead of dwelling. And that's not to say you're not allowed to be upset about bad things happening in your life. The goal is to process negative emotions in a healthy way and then manifest or be optimistic about the future of this thing. I like to feel my feelings first. I'm feeling sad right now about something that happened, and that's a very real thing. And I'll either go to therapy or talk to someone about it where they can also acknowledge my feelings. And then instead of taking a pessimistic view about it, I'll be like, okay, this bad thing is happening, but what can I do about this? Okay, let's say a breakup happens. I went through a breakup, and this is really sad, and this really hurts, and my heart is broken right now. But that doesn't mean that I can't heal, and that doesn't mean that I won't find someone else. There are plenty of fish in the sea, and I'm sure I'll find the person who's meant to be for me. It's okay that I'm sad right now. It's okay that I'm upset right now, because I'm a human being with feelings. Another thing that has really helped me with becoming optimistic is believing that everything in life happens for a reason. Now, obviously, horrible things do happen to people that shouldn't happen to people. And I don't want to diminish that by saying that everything happens for a reason, because people getting murdered or worse. But obviously horrible things happen to people, and sometimes there is just no purpose. But I'm talking more on the daily struggles that we experience, whether that be some relationship struggles, financial issues, family issues, falling out with people, things like that. Going even more simply, say you spilt your coffee because you weren't paying attention. Things like that. I think that looking for the lesson in everything in your life can improve your quality of life and your optimism, because instead of dwelling on the negative feeling that you have, you are looking for the good. You are looking for the lesson. What am I going to learn from this experience? Why is the universe or God or whatever you believe in? Why is this being shown to me, being brought to me? Why is this situation happening to me, and what is it trying to teach me? That's a very positive and realistic way to look at things, because if you have experienced hardship and gotten over it, you've definitely learned something from that situation. See, I've had a lot of relationships, friends and romantic, that in the beginning of the end of those, I would look back at them and I would be, wow, that was so negative. That was a waste of my time. That really hurt me. What was the good in that? But then over time, I've challenged that. And I realized, wow, I needed those friendships and relationships to teach me something about myself, or teach me better communication skills. When things like this happen, it's best not to jump to self-hatred or self-blame, because shame can eat you alive. I think everyone is bound to make mistakes in their lives, and that's okay. And in order for pessimism to be turned to optimism, you have to acknowledge and come to terms with the fact that you are a human being and you're gonna mess up sometimes. But that's what life is about. Life is not about being perfect, being happy, being joyous all the time, because that's impossible and that is not realistic. You are a human being and you're going to experience human experiences like death and heartbreak and being unfortunate, being injured, being sick. It's about learning how to deal with those things in a healthy way and figuring out the lesson inside of that, so you can come out the other end and feel like you've learned from something and try your best not to make the mistake again. Sometimes the universe will bring us the same lesson over and over again. And you want to know why? It's because you didn't learn hard enough the first time, unfortunately. And when the universe does that, it's super annoying, but you have to look at it from a perspective of, what do I still need to learn? What am I not doing that the universe still wants me to learn? It could be you're picking the wrong people to hang around, and the universe keeps bringing you those people, and you keep latching on to those people, and then it ends badly for you. The universe is challenging you with those people, if that's the case scenario. The universe is going, let's bring this pattern of theirs back around to see if they're still in that pattern, and teach them the lesson and the pain and the suffering that that pattern brings. so they will learn. Sometimes you need to have that happen over and over again for you to get sick of it, you to get sick of yourself and your pattern. I really hope that my insights have been helpful for you today. If you have any questions about what I talked about today, please leave them down below. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like, and if you like me, consider subscribing. There will be more videos to come. I plan to post a new YouTube video every week. So far, so good. And I wanted to give a shout out to all the people who are supporting me on this YouTube journey. It really means a lot to me, and I appreciate you guys. If you want to see me being funny on the internet, because I'm a human just like you all, consider following me on TikTok at MykaNader111, and then I post some more nature-related content and helpful, inspirational reels. So consider following me on Instagram as well under the same app. Also, if you have something that you would like insight on or my opinion on, some advice, please consider reaching out to me in my DMs on Instagram or leaving a comment about a video idea that you would like to see. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye, y'all.